We are now in our third interview with Dan Bowman, an extraordinary entrepreneur who's volunteered his time to speak with us at Prison Professors so that we could help justice impacted people really understand the relationship between their investment in themselves and their prospects for success. If you are willing to develop strong verbal communication skills, strong writing skills, strong critical thinking skills, and insane self-developed work ethic, you can prosper. And one of the interesting facts that Dan just told me is when he was in college, he studied sociology and learned a little bit about recidivism and how frequently people who don't like their jobs or are underemployed revert to the type of behavior that leads them into the prison in the first system. Don't let that happen to you. Make sure that you're doing what you can to invest in yourself so that you're not dependent on the job market, but rather you're only dependent on your ability to generate good leads, to convert those leads into sales, to deliver a value proposition to your clients, and to build a business, an entrepreneurial business that you can start with very little money. Now, in the last program, we spoke about the importance of having some capital to sustain you until you get off your feet. And I recommended that they have about 3 or 4 months of living wages so they can invest themselves full time to really become the master of their craft. But they also, in my recommendation, would also need to buy a course or learn more. And I'm not getting a penny from this. I'm not going to ask for a penny from this. This is part of my commitment of just wanting to be the change I want to see in the world. What does the person typically pay for your course, Dan?
So they'll pay between $1,500 and $3,000. It won't be nearly that for those of you watching this through Prison Professors. First of all, we would do the $1,500 version of that course, and it would be at least half off, probably more than that, though.
So I'm not going to, I know that I just put you on the spot and I'm not asking for a discount for people in prison, but I want you to think about it. What's important for you and people in prison to hear what Dan just said is he's willing to invest in people if those people are willing to invest in themselves. My challenge for you, Dan, and what I would love it is that I'm going to have show notes on this lesson plan, and I'm going to give them one question that says, why are you worthy of a scholarship? Make them sell themselves to you to qualify for that discount. Because people in prison, we have to live in the real world, and the real world is not full of places where we celebrate 8th place trophies, where everybody gets a participant and everybody gets a deal. I have to work for every deal that I get. I want, if you're in jail or prison, you to work to seize these opportunities that generous people like Dan are offering. So you'll find a show note in there where your task is going to be write an essay and say, why are you worthy of Dan investing time for you? And I think that's a great way to form a relationship. It's the way that I formed relationships with mentors. Why don't you now tell us about what they can get if they qualify to work for to participate in your exciting program?
So I think in this case, the most valuable part about this is the mentorship aspect. Of course, in this program, you're going to learn everything you need to know. It's a video style course. So there's not a boatload of reading. It's mostly just me on video, literally showing you, sharing my screen, talking about how I do it, running it through with you. But beside that, I think the most important thing is that you will actually be able to work with me on deals that you get. So not only that, but you're going to get all the legal forms that you need, because of course, when you sign somebody up to do this with you, they're going to have to notarize some stuff. You'll have access to all of that, so you won't have to figure that out. But yeah, most importantly, I think, is the mentorship aspect of this. So you're going to be able to, first of all, write questions within the course itself that I would personally answer. So whatever questions you have, you write those in, I answer them for you. So there's that aspect of it. But again, when you find deals and you land on, you start developing these clients, it's still tricky at first, even with the whole course, to really know exactly what to do simply because you've never done it. So in those events, you can reach out to me, and together we can take on these cases, one-on-one and actually push you through at least your first couple, and then I'm quite certain you'll be able to do it on your own, frankly. A third thing is we'll actually provide you. It took me years to find these guys, but I finally found attorneys who work all 50 states. It's one firm that works all 50 states. I'm going to give you access to them as well, so you don't have to go looking for people to do this with you.
So to kind of break down, what I'd like to have now is break down how many videos are in the course that you offer.
I should know the answer to that off the top of my head, but I'm trying to remember.
It's probably evolving. Or you're probably creating new videos regularly.
That's the case. Yeah, that's the case. And so, I mean, it's not as many as you might think, honestly. I want to say it's probably 20 at the moment.
Are they all like in these bite-sized pieces of about 15 minutes?
A little, yes. There's the 15-minute ones, but then there's also the topics where I mean, it can go an hour and a half. So it depends on the video, but yeah.
So the important takeaway there is look at what you would be getting, right? Dan's invested to create a video. You need to have a camera. You need to have a microphone. You need to have editing software, right? That's a tremendous investment of time to create 20 videos. I know that if I'm going to go out and make videos, professional videos or instructional videos, I've got to kind of have a budget of at least $1,000 a video by the time I play a videographer, buy the camera, do the editing software. I mean, it gets to be expensive. So when you break that down for a fee of $1,500 to $3,000 just for the retail customer, it's really an enormous value, especially when you start to learn the income potential. Why don't you tell us about how a typical transaction, if it's successful, what does it look like? And I know that there's a range, but why don't you give us the low range of how much you would be able to give the client back, and of that money that you give the client back, how much the individual keeps, and then also give us the high range.
Absolutely. So the lowest, it does range. I mean, you can have overages that are as little as $500 or something. I tend to only work cases that are between $8,000 to $10,000 at the low end, and then I tend to take 30. My average is probably about 30%. So you figure 10 grand, I'm keeping 3,000 of it before I pay attorneys or whatever. But the way that works out, it's not that much. So figure 2,500 would be my payday from a $10,000 deal.
And that's one of the lower entries that you would invest your time to seize that initiative. Is on a $10,000 transaction with the walkaway saying, okay, do the math on that, right? You've got to develop. That's why I always emphasize the importance of investing in time to develop math skills really quickly. 10 grand, you make about 3 grand. It probably costs you $500 in administrative, marketing, and attorney's fees, right, and you walk away with $2,500, okay? But there's no limit. You could be working on 10 of those at a time, and 10 times $2,500 is $25,000. What about the other end of the spectrum, Dan?
Yes. So on the high end, I mean, I've done cases that were, I think my highest was about $80,000. If it's more than that, they probably have found out about it. I mean, you can go upwards of that too, but I've done several $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 cases where, again, my takeaway was about 30%. So you can see it's beneficial to go after these higher ones if you can find them, and that they exist. They're all over the place, frankly.
And the total available market is the entire United States. It's wherever these opportunities exist. So you've got to develop time where time is your asset. Where do I invest my time to find the right place to go fishing? And Dan is the expert that will help you become a fish finder.
Absolutely. Yeah, and to your point, I mean, you're typically just doing one case. I mean, you'll build up that pipeline, so to speak. And at any given time, I probably have at least 10 cases in court actively being worked through. So definitely adds up really quick.
So that's a great market, and it's one of the reasons that I highly recommend wherever you are, nobody is stopping you from developing a stronger vocabulary. Nobody is stopping you from developing the skill to turn words into sentences and sentences into paragraphs. Nobody is stopping you from learning how to tell a story. And that's effectively what business is all about. Telling a story, helping a prospective client understand how to solve a problem. And it may be a problem they don't even know exists. That's what you would learn by going through Dan's course. And could you remind them again the name of the course and the way that they would find the course?
Absolutely. So if you go on literally Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and type in overage mastery, mine should be the first that comes up. That's the name of the course, is overage mastery. But do reach out to me direct at overagemastery1@gmail.com. That'll be the best way to get a hold of me.
And you will find in the show notes that I include in this video links to, or the URL addresses that you can write to, maybe even a mailing address where you could write if you're in jail and you want to write a letter. But my ask of you, if you're a participant, is invest in yourself. Write an essay or an article that describes why you are a great candidate to have mentorship from Dan. That's what I would have done while I was in prison. And by pursuing that path, I opened opportunities to people who provided me funding, who provided me opportunities to build my own income stream. And it made all the difference in the world, even though I served 26 years in prison. I always considered myself unemployable. But if I could develop a relationship with a guy like Dan, I could learn a skill, and then my criminal record all of a sudden didn't matter. All that mattered is the value I could bring to the marketplace. And that's what I want to see you doing. I want you to be thinking about, what am I going to do if employers won't hire me? What am I going to do if I face a challenge? The more you invest in yourself, the better positioned you're going to be to overcome those traits. And that's why we offer courses at Prison Professors, to try and be the change that we want to see in the world. So Dan, you said that you've been doing this for how many years now?
3 years.
3 years. And when you were laid off, what was your income level, your taxable income, when you were laid off from the mattress company?
So it was a huge hit to my system when I got laid off, because I was probably making about $80K.
Making $80,000 a year.
Yep.
A homeowner, had a vehicle, had expenses, okay? And now, after you said, what was your income after you learned this skill, year 1, year 2, year 3?
Year 1, I was immediately I made over 120K at least that first year.
So if you've studied your math, right? 80 to 120, that's a 50% increase, right? From 80, half of 80 is 40. Add 80 and 40 together, that's $120,000. So if you were making, it's 50% more than in year 1. What about year 2?
And the best part was, I was working far less. I mean, I was probably working 50, 60-hour weeks at the mattress company. Doing this, I was working 4 days a week, 4 hours a day. I mean, it was not even close. That is another
quality of life, in addition to higher income, better quality of life. And let's go to year 3. If you're open to just sharing, what are you earning now?
Considerably more, well into the 6 figures. Yeah, I'm making a lot more than even that.
So what's important for you to understand is Dan never stopped investing in himself. He didn't just rest on his laurels when he started to become successful. He became a digital entrepreneur, selling his intellectual property. So again, not only did he earn money by providing the service, but then he put it into a package and he sold to other people at scale so they could do the service. These are all things that you can do as well if you develop strong communication skills, strong work ethic, and really just invest in yourself every day. If you do that, you can be like Dan. This is the kind of guy I would consider a hero and a mentor. It's a real American success story of investing in yourself and not waiting for other people to give you a handout. Learn how to do it, and as I used to say in the old Nike commercial with Michael Jordan, just do it. Quit making excuses and figure out how to build your own life. That's what we learn from the leaders we present on Prison Professors. Dan, I'd like it just, if you could, one more time, give us the name of your company and the way that people can find you, and then we'll close out.
Perfect. Yeah, so the name of the course is Overage Mastery. overagemastery1@gmail is the best way to contact me. Now, I actually appreciate what you said, though, about people in prison who probably don't have access to internet writing letters. I'll give you my P.O. box as well. So if you guys want to write letters, you can get a hold of me that way as well. And And then, yeah, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. If you type in Overage Mastery, mine should be the first to pop up.
And I will provide all those links in the lesson plan that accompanies these videos. I do encourage you to follow the same path that I've written about in all of my courses. I never ask anybody to do anything that I didn't do. If I were still in prison and I saw this video, I would be writing a letter to Dan and trying to let him know why I am a good candidate to be his protege, to work for somebody like him, to learn it. If I need to go raise money to pay for the course or to sustain my living expenses, you've read in my other books how I did that while I was in prison. Their only excuse, the only limitation on your ability is not your access to capital, but your willingness to invest in yourself so others will invest in you. Nobody should work harder for your success than you, but make sure that your eyes are open and you understand the challenges in the world that afflict every justice-impacted person. We want you to be a success story rather than a story of how bad the system is. Figure out how to do it on your own and you will become successful, just like Dan Bowman did when he was laid off. Isn't that right, Dan?
That's right.
Thanks so much for being a part of our community, Dan. We really appreciate the time. We know that you could have spent this time scouring leads and finding new properties, but you agreed to help people in prison figure out why they should invest in themselves. And I want to personally thank you. You are now a prison professor.
Excellent. Thank you, Michael. It's been a blast. I've enjoyed it.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.